Today is September 23, 2025. In recent days, Americans have witnessed events that reveal the strategies of the modern MAGA movement, led by President Trump. From a massive Arizona memorial to a controversial White House health announcement, these moments have sparked national debate and exposed deep divisions. The death of Charlie Kirk became a rallying cry, while Trump's claim about Tylenol and autism contradicted medical consensus and created confusion. These events are not isolated. They're part of a broader agenda that leverages emotion and distrust of institutions to reshape American politics. By examining the Kirk Memorial and the president's public health statements, we can see how personal tragedy and public fear are being used to consolidate support and challenge scientific authority. Understanding these tactics is crucial for grasping the direction in which the country is being steered. On September 22, President Trump made a stunning public health declaration that sent shockwaves through the medical community and the general public alike. He announced that the FDA would warn doctors about Tylenol use during pregnancy, claiming it could increase the risk of autism in children, a statement that immediately sparked controversy and concern. This announcement directly contradicted decades of medical advice, which had long considered acetaminophen safe for use during pregnancy. The news left doctors scrambling to reassure their patients, while expectant parents were left feeling anxious and uncertain about what to believe. Standing beside Trump were figures known for questioning mainstream science, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Dr. Marty Makary, both of whom have previously voiced skepticism about established medical guidelines. Trump went further, calling for a delay in newborn vaccinations, a move that challenged not only long-standing pediatric recommendations but also the very foundation of public health policy. Medical professionals responded swiftly and forcefully, calling the announcement dangerous, misleading, and unsupported by credible scientific evidence. Leading medical organizations issued statements urging the public not to panic. Experts warned that scaring pregnant people away from acetaminophen could have serious consequences. Untreated fevers during pregnancy are known to pose far greater risks to both mother and baby, including birth defects and complications. The FDA quickly clarified that no causal link between Tylenol and autism has been established, emphasizing that current evidence does not support changing medical practice. At the same time, the administration announced new funding for autism research and expanded Medicaid coverage for a new autism treatment, attempting to show commitment to solutions. This dual approach, raising public alarm while simultaneously offering policy solutions, appeared calculated to both stoke fear and present the administration as proactive in addressing complex health issues. The result was widespread confusion, growing distrust in public health authorities, and a direct challenge to the scientific consensus that has guided medical practice for generations. The day before the health announcement, the MAGA movement gathered in Arizona for Charlie Kirk's memorial. Supporters from across the country traveled to State Farm Stadium, drawn by a sense of shared loss and purpose. The atmosphere outside was charged with anticipation, as people exchanged stories about Kirk's influence and legacy. The stadium was packed, transforming the event into a political spectacle. Every seat was filled, and the energy in the air was palpable. The sheer scale of the gathering underscored Kirk's impact on the movement, turning what might have been a somber occasion into a show of force and unity. President Trump's keynote speech declared Kirk a martyr for American freedom and blamed the radical left for his death without evidence. Trump's words electrified the crowd, framing Kirk's passing as a rallying cry and deepening the sense of grievance among his supporters. Other speakers, including J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller, used the occasion to rally the base and promise intensified efforts against perceived enemies. Their speeches echoed Trump's themes, urging the audience to remain vigilant and to honor Kirk's memory through action. High-ranking officials attended, giving the event the feel of a state occasion and cementing Kirk's status in MAGA mythology. Their presence signaled the movement's growing influence and the seriousness with which they viewed Kirk's legacy. In contrast, Kirk's widow, Erica, called for forgiveness and love, but the dominant theme was defiant mobilization. Her emotional plea offered a rare moment of vulnerability, briefly shifting the tone before the crowd returned to chants and applause. The memorial blurred the line between mourning and political rally, channeling grief into renewed purpose. Tears mixed with cheers as attendees found comfort in collective action, transforming sorrow into motivation. The event reframed tragedy as a call to arms, reinforcing a narrative of persecution and cultural warfare. Speakers and attendees alike spoke of Kirk's sacrifice as a turning point, vowing to continue his fight. For the movement, Kirk's death became a symbol of sacrifice and a catalyst for unity. His image was everywhere, on banners, badges, and in the words of those who spoke in his honor. The memorial marked a turning point, energizing supporters for the battles ahead. As the crowd left the stadium, there was a renewed sense of mission, Kirk's legacy now woven into the fabric of the movement's identity. The past week offered a revealing look at the MAGA movement's core strategies, harnessing raw emotion, creating clear enemies, and questioning established authority at every turn. These tactics are not new, but their intensity has only grown. By elevating Charlie Kirk as a martyr, the movement transformed personal loss into a symbol of political struggle. Trump seized the moment, turning tragedy into a narrative of political sacrifice and resilience. His speeches painted Kirk's fate as a consequence of standing up to powerful adversaries. This deepened followers' commitment, forging a sense of shared purpose and emotional unity. Blaming the radical left provided a tangible enemy, channeling collective anger outward and away from internal doubts. The movement's rhetoric focused on external threats, reinforcing the idea that their way of life was under siege. The Tylenol autism announcement tapped into deep parental fears and a growing distrust of scientific experts, positioning Trump as a champion willing to challenge the medical establishment on behalf of ordinary families. Both events worked in tandem to strengthen the bond between leaders and their base, one through shared grief and loss, the other through shared suspicion and skepticism. The underlying message was clear: only Trump and his allies can protect the people from dangerous forces, whether political or medical. This approach keeps supporters mobilized, emotionally invested, and fiercely loyal, even in the face of controversy or contradiction. The narrative is always prioritized over facts, with emotional resonance outweighing evidence. Claims are often made without supporting proof, but the real goal is to shape perception and maintain unity. The aim isn't to win debates with outsiders, but to reinforce a shared worldview within the movement. The result is an information bubble where the movement's reality dominates, making outside criticism and alternative perspectives nearly irrelevant to its most devoted followers. Trump's claim about Tylenol and autism contradicts decades of scientific research. Acetaminophen has long been considered the safest pain reliever during pregnancy, with extensive studies supporting its use. The most recent large-scale study involving over 2 million children found no link between prenatal acetaminophen and autism or ADHD. Rising autism diagnoses are attributed to broader criteria and increased awareness, not a single medication. Doctors warn that avoiding acetaminophen out of fear could lead to untreated fevers, which are far more dangerous. The administration's statement promotes a speculative risk over a known one, potentially causing more harm than good. The medical community's response has been forceful and unified in rejecting the claim. Medical and scientific communities immediately condemned Trump's Tylenol announcement as unfounded and dangerous. Leading organizations urged patients to trust their doctors, not political rhetoric. Tylenol's manufacturer and the Autism Science Foundation also pushed back, highlighting the lack of evidence. The announcement sowed confusion and anxiety among expectant parents, eroding trust in public health guidance. Meanwhile, reactions to the Kirk memorial split along political lines. Supporters saw it as a powerful tribute, critics as cynical exploitation. Both events deepened polarization and heightened public uncertainty. Charlie Kirk's assassination has energized the MAGA movement, sparking a surge in activism and recruitment. Turning Point USA has seen tens of thousands of students seek to start new chapters, inspired by the narrative of martyrdom. The movement has framed Kirk's death as the result of left-wing rhetoric, deflecting criticism and portraying themselves as victims. Kirk's controversial legacy is now celebrated as courageous truth-telling, further entrenching the culture war. His widow, Erica, now leads Turning Point USA, symbolizing both tragedy and resilience. The memorial was a launchpad for renewed activism, not an end. The story of Kirk as a martyr will fuel the movement's intensity for years to come. The culture war, now supercharged, will continue to shape American politics. These events are more than headlines. They reveal the MAGA playbook and the stakes for American democracy. The movement prioritizes narrative over fact, uses tragedy for mobilization, and undermines trust in institutions. Loyalty to the movement is valued above shared facts, deepening polarization and eroding public trust. The Tylenol and Kirk episodes show a willingness to challenge consensus and create doubt, positioning the administration as the sole source of truth. This strategy threatens the foundation of democracy, an informed public. The exposure of these tactics allows for a response by experts, journalists, and citizens to counter misinformation. The nation faces a choice: follow emotional appeals and suspicion, or reaffirm evidence-based reasoning and institutional trust. The outcome will determine the health of American democracy for years to come.